number of cases are going high quite significantly. The other news that many international tourists are waiting for is what about... Hey guys, welcome to this new video. In today's video, I want to give you an update about the situation here in Vietnam. You may know that we are right after Tet, so most of the Vietnamese traveled a lot over the last weeks, and now everyone is going back in town for business, for work again. So here actually we are in the new location of Ho Chi Minh City. We are just next to Riverside, so it's in the end of Nguyen Hue, the walking streets, and we have this on my back, some new developments that has been done over the last months. So it shows how important are the infrastructure investments in terms of real estate and investment from the city. So the first point I want to mention in this video is that the number of cases has been going pretty high recently. It's pretty obvious because we had a lot of gathering during Tet ceremonies in Vietnam. Most of the people working in big city, in Saigon, Hanoi, went back to their hometown. So obviously because of those big gathering, people, like meet a lot, do a lot of gathering, and finally the number of cases are going high quite significantly. Right now in Ho Chi Minh City, we have around 600 new cases per day, and in Hanoi it's over 4,000 cases. So it's a raise that reached right now higher than 32,000 cases per day in all Vietnam. So now one of the biggest news that we got this week is some update from traveling in Vietnam. So over the last weeks, the different ministry in Vietnam try to gather a lot and try to find where they could reopen the traveling to Vietnam. So we've been some recent update over the last days. So I want to, in this video, to share you about that travel aspect. So let's get started. So we're going to start about those updates about the flights in Vietnam. So the first thing we got is that around the last weeks, all the international flights are coming back to Vietnam, and obviously for the first part of this year, they bring back Vietnamese to help them to enter the country and to celebrate Tet with their families. Foreigners who also marry Vietnamese, so for instance who get visa exemption, could also enter the country more easily over the last weeks. And finally we got this week the big news that they're going to welcome international tourists from most of the countries in the world to enter Vietnam again for tourism purpose. So basically in terms of flights in Vietnam going into the country, we got the price going down quite significantly over the last weeks, obviously because before it was only chartered flights or commercial flight with a lot of paperwork that you have to do in advance. So the price to enter Vietnam before was from $2,000 to $3,000 for direct flights, and right now this week we got direct flight, for instance, from San Francisco directly to Ho Chi Minh City at about $1,200 US, and we got flight directly coming from Paris to Ho Chi Minh City as about $5,500 to $6,000. So this is a huge drop that we got in the prices of flights. So this is a very good news for international tourists to help them enter more smoothly Vietnam. And at the same time, I received this week a lot of different promotion in my mailbox from Vietjet Air, from Bamboo Airlines, and from Vietnam Airlines for promotions to push more and more destinations that are gonna open in the next upcoming weeks. So all those signals are very good news, and going in the direction of the reopening of the whole country and allowing people to go in and out of Vietnam more easily. Now the other news that many international tourists are waiting for is what about the visa situation Actually, we got the final and official announcement from the Prime Minister after getting in touch with all the different ministries in Vietnam, and they're gonna open the same rule as it used to be before the pandemic. So how it works basically is that you can directly get in touch with the embassy or the consulate, the Vietnamese consulate from your country to get the visa directly on your passport before coming to the country, or you will have similar kind of visa on arrival. And so for instance, if you are someone holding a French passport, a US passport, most of the European passport, there is visa exemption, so you can just enter the country and you have 15 days without any visa. So it's going to be the same rule as it was before. It was implemented already before. It's going to be the same right now. The only last missing piece from those announcements is about the business visa. We don't know yet how it's going to be handled right now in Vietnam. And because over the last 2 years, there'll be more and more regulation about the business visa, we guess that right now, if you want to acquire such a business visa, you will need to have a real sponsor in Vietnam. So basically a real company that you're going to be working for, and those visas can finally be converted into, for instance, a work permit and a TRC card that will allow you to stay in Vietnam for about 2 years. And finally, the last main point of this returning of international tourists in Vietnam as the criteria about disembarkation. So basically, until now, foreign tourists were only allowed to come to Vietnam through package tour. So they had to book a week or 2 weeks of holiday in Vietnam. It was very expensive, so they work with travel agents that book, an all-inclusive package. The only downside of that is that they had to stay mostly in the hotel location. So the first thing those tourists have to provide is first a PCR test that is negative 72 hours before taking their plane. The second thing is that when they're going to land into Vietnam, they will have a quick test. Then they have to stay 24-hour self-quarantine at home. It means that if they already have a place, it can be an Airbnb, it can be an hotel, it can be a friend house, they can stay for 24 hours there. Then they will have to prove that they are finally negative after the self-quarantine. And the last piece is that they will have to get in hand a health insurance that's going to cover until $10,000 of potential refunds. So it means that if you catch COVID in Vietnam, authorities know that at least you have a health insurance package that will be able to cover all the COVID treatments. And as soon as you are able to provide all those things, you are free to go and to travel in Vietnam. The only thing that the government is asking you is to install on your phone an app called PC COVID, and basically with this app they will be able to track you anywhere you are going in Vietnam. And if you catch COVID, basically with this app they will be able to anticipate it and then take proactive actions. Before you are able to leave your house, if you finally got positive, so let's say you enter the country and you catch COVID in the airplane or when you are in the airports, so at that time it's going to be the hotel that's going to deal with the authorities to see what they're going to do with you. So probably they will let you, be self-quarantine for maybe a week. We are not sure yet how things going to be handled or that, but based on what is happening in Thailand and in Cambodia, that's the same thing that should be implemented here in Vietnam. But there are still some uncertainty behind, so let's check everything now. So finally, what about those uncertainty? Actually, local experts are right now expecting that will be another big wave in the beginning of March, so the same kind of wave you got, guys, in your foreign countries. It can be in Europe, in the US, the Omicron wave, the new variant of Omicron that is right now in Vietnam. So those uncertainty may lead to a little bit of struggle to reopen finally everything and to have everything going very smooth in the reopening of the tourism. But actually, when you see how authorities are really planning everything ahead, they are really going in the direction of reopening everything without having any more, very strict lockdown, etc. Because now the new KPI that they are checking are the number of deaths per day. So actually they won't care anymore so much about the number of cases. What matters for the authorities and for the health department in Vietnam is how many people are finally going in the emergency of the hospital, as soon as they can keep this number of people very low. And because right now we already have the third doses of the vaccine in Vietnam, everything should go very smoothly with this new upcoming wave that everyone is expecting in Vietnam. So you shouldn't cancel your plan. If you already book a flight ticket to come to Vietnam in March, April, May, just keep all the schedule, plan everything, and then I'm pretty sure everything gonna be good when you're gonna finally enter Vietnam. And as soon as you respect the 5K rule, you keep your mask, you keep distance, etc., and you are pretty safe in moving around, there shouldn't be any problem to come again to Vietnam and to visit this amazing country. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Share me your thoughts below and tell me what do you think about all those news, and do you already plan your trip to Vietnam? Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, bye bye.
Down and I'ma get it right, get on sight like